recognizing your amazing District Governor, Nick. Where is he? There he is, there he is. And do you love the videos that he was doing for you every month? Were those amazing? Absolutely, absolutely. And First Lady Jen, and the amazing team, and I see our chair right here, the amazing team that's put this district conference together. Let's give them a round of applause. This is indeed a night to celebrate. And to celebrate the clubs and the members who are bringing our Rotary Action Plan to life with success in every one of these areas. Now, I'd like to mix it up a little bit. I'd like to start with engaging our members and our participants, and then go to expanding our reach, and then go to increasing our ability to adapt, and finish up with increase our impact. Because I think it all starts in our clubs. I think it all starts with our members. Now, Rotary District 6400 has been growing this year, so congratulations. We heard about the Rotary Club of Detroit adding 28 members in the first 9 months of the year. Yay! We heard about a new satellite club in Riverview. Pretty nice, huh? So let me tell you that at least at this point in time, at the beginning of May, that District 6400 is up more than 70 members, and that your membership is over 1,530 members in the district. Now that includes 51 amazing Rotary clubs, and there's a new club in your district, and that is Tecumseh Lakeshore. Did I say it correctly? And are you in the house? All right, so welcome to our Rotary families. We're so glad that you're here. So this growth is happening because your clubs are engaging your members, and you're attracting new members by providing value. Value in friendship, value in leadership development, value in personal growth opportunities, and absolutely in impactful service projects. So give yourselves a round of applause for all of the good that you're doing in your Rotary clubs. You're adapting, you're innovating, you're adjusting to what we need to do to be relevant today in our own communities and in the world. You know, your district also is incredibly generous to our Rotary Foundation, to Polio Plus, to our annual fund, to endowment giving. And I had a number I was going to share, but I understand there's a big reveal that's coming. And so I'm going to hold that number, and I'm going to allow your governor to be able to share that number with you in a little bit. It's pretty amazing, and you're going to be so proud. I'm so proud to be here with you, and congratulate you ahead of time for that. You know, we have a lot to celebrate tonight, including a milestone birthday for the fabulous Sylvia Whitlock. You know, and you have happy birthday hats on all your tables, right? Or we have happy birthday all around. So let's celebrate each of you as well as the fabulous Sylvia. The day you were born, and that other most important day in your life, at least according to Mark Twain. And that's the day you find out why. Now for me, I'm not quite sure I fully discovered my why. It seems like new paths open, new opportunities arise along the journey. And I'm not quite sure I fully discovered my why. Anyone else like that? So I got curious, and I thought, well, I wonder if thinking about what is meaningful for us might help us discover, might expose that why for us a little bit more. Now this is really personal, isn't it? It's highly personal what creates meaning for you in your life. And I think it takes some reflection. So I found a kind of fun way to reflect, and that's to go to your phones, because we all have the phone with us, right? And on an iPhone, you can tap. If you go to Photos, you can go to that top left picture, and it'll take you to the beginning of time on your phone, the beginning of time of your pictures. And take a look, go through those photos, and look at what you took a picture of. The people, the places, the events that were important enough for you to stop and take a picture and then keep it. For me, my family is very important to me. I told you this last night. My wonderful husband, Tim, and I've got about 100 pictures of grandkids if you'd like to see them in a bit. I think meaning in life for us has to do with three things. I think it has to do with purpose. What we feel compelled to do as people of action. I think it has to do with aspiration. Looking to the future with courage and optimism and being willing to dream big dreams, like I know many of you in this room do. And I think it has to do with significance. And that's understanding how the world works and being able to take action in a way that's going to create lasting change. Sorry. I think when we think about what creates meaning in our life, it also brings up that question of why Rotary? A question I invited you to consider last night. And when we think about why Rotary, it brings forth those stories that touch us, that create those special memories, those special experiences for us. And we heard about a number of those stories last night, didn't we? Hearing about the Guatemala Literacy Project. And Gabby Moreno is with us right here tonight. Welcome, Gabby. We heard a lot of those stories from the stage today, hearing from members in different clubs and what they're doing to make a difference in their communities and in other places. So I normally share a story about Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, RILA Camp, and young people learning about how to take on those obstacles in their lives. Well, when you take a look at all these stories, you listen to these stories, I think maybe the short answer to why Rotary is that Rotary changes lives. So I can't really see all of you, but I'd like to ask you a question, and that would be, think about your own experience in Rotary. How many of you would say that you've been able to change somebody else's life for the better because of your involvement in Rotary? I'm going to see if I can see hands. I hope that everybody in this room has their hand up. Because if you don't, I think you're being humble. Because I've heard what this district does. I've heard what you in this district do. And you definitely are changing lives. Let's look at that question from a little different point of view. And I would ask you to think about, has your own life been changed for the better because of Rotary? Who would answer yes to that? Again, I can't quite see all of you, but I'm seeing a lot of motion, so I'm thinking the hands are going up. And that's very true as well, isn't it? I know it's true for me. One significant experience for me was when Tim and I had the opportunity to participate in a national immunization day for polio eradication in northern India in 2009. Putting these 2 drops in the mouth of a child at a train station in Moradabad made polio eradication really personal, very real to me. Now, this was back in 2009. Polio had not been eradicated in India. And in fact, at that point in time, they called it pain. Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, Nigeria were the 4 countries that were left where polio had not been eradicated. I'm sure you all know we're down to 2 countries now, and that's Afghanistan and Pakistan. Thank you. That's the good news, right? And this year to date, we've had 12 cases of wild polio virus, 10 in Pakistan and 2 in Afghanistan. Now we're down to 2 countries, but they're certainly 2 of the most challenging places in the world. And there's some other complexities as well. That polio virus is not giving up easily, but guess what? I'm looking at you, and Rotary members are not giving up easily either. So there's a couple of things that we can do as members of Rotary. At least 2 things we can do. One of them is to keep a focus on raising funds. There's a magic $50 million that we like to raise in Rotary. And the reason it's magic is because it's matched $100 million by the Gates Foundation. Now we heard, yes, thank you. We heard about a club that was participating in a community garage sale today, right? And they were raising money for polio by participating in that community event. We can also give personally. There's many ways to do it. I have a bottle of wine that was given to me that has End Polio Now on it, being used as a fundraiser to raise funds for polio. The other thing that you can do as a member is make sure we're talking about it. Make sure we're raising awareness of how important it is that we finish this fight. And so that people in our communities will understand what an amazing event it is when we are finally able to say that we've eradicated this disease from the face of the earth. So thank you for your continued support in those 2 things to help us finish this fight. You know, this trip to India in 2009 gave me a very different perspective of polio eradication and a very different perspective of people who live in extreme poverty, who live without access to clean water, to adequate sanitation, to medical care, or for education. Tim and I were able to see firsthand the power of Rotary and the power of our Rotary Foundation, not just through polio eradication efforts, but through blood banks, through cataract surgeries, through school supplies that were provided by Rotary, through a single well in a village with a hand pump, the only clean water for the people who lived there, and that well was provided by Rotary. Now these experiences took me from contributing to our Rotary Foundation because someone asked me to, or because I thought I should, to participating joyfully, with participation in acts and gifts, because I know this is an investment. This is how we make a difference. We're investing in a better world. We're investing in peace in our world. Now, you don't have to go to India or any of the other remote locations of the world to have this kind of experience. You can have that experience right here in Windsor, across the river in Detroit, wherever your community is. And this is how we make a difference. You've seen this before. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. And I always like to say that, like the very best things in Rotary, this vision statement came from you. It came from our members and other people who participate in our organization. For me, it highlights the connection and the impact that we make as a local and global movement of change makers, of leaders, of Rotary members. We come together to make a difference. We come together, we build on what's come before us. We honor our past. We build on that, and then we take action to make our communities better, to make the world better, and even to make ourselves better. And we have such a unique vehicle. Rotary and our Rotary Foundation give us a way to make that lasting change, to create that profound meaning, to make that difference and change those lives. And Rotary and our Rotary Foundation are powered by you. Particularly, Rotary Foundation projects are conceived, they're created, they're designed, they're implemented, and they're funded by Rotary members. Active Rotarian participation is vital. It's vital in the success of a project, in addressing real needs in our communities, in creating awareness of what is possible when we involve our Rotary Foundation, and then bringing together the passion and the power of our members, leveraging our local and global network to make that difference. And we also fund these projects, don't we? Largely through your annual fund contributions, the fuel to the engine of our Rotary Foundation. Provided to our Rotary Foundation, held for 3 years, and then they come back to us in the form of global grants and district grants. And I learned from Rick Karen that this district has 35 active global grants worth about $6 million. He's going to keep me honest if I don't say this correctly. In 18 countries around the world. Now, some of those countries are represented by these flags, but there's even more. This is an incredible accomplishment. I can see why they call this Super District 6400. It's amazing. Now, we can feel confident about the gifts we give, the grants we share, because our Rotary Foundation is recognized and known for stewardship, for financial transparency, for accuracy and financial reporting. So just one of those rating agencies, Charity Navigator, has ranked our Rotary Foundation with their very top rating of 4 stars for 16 consecutive years. Now that's worth some applause. Now this rating is important to me. I think it's probably important to you as well, knowing what's happening with our money, right, that we give to our Rotary Foundation. It's also important to our partners, those we work with on global grants, even people like the Gates Foundation. And it's also important to people who may just be learning about us. So I had an opportunity a few years ago to meet a couple who were very interested in leaving a legacy. They wanted to create meaning after they were gone. They didn't have any family or children to leave their estate to. And so they were investigating places to leave this estate, to do their bequest. Now, the interesting thing about this couple was they weren't Rotary members. And they had been out researching different charities, and they were getting a bit discouraged because they found that many nonprofits have large overhead, and that a very small percentage of the actual funds go to the charitable purpose, to go to the cause that they wanted to support. Well, lucky for them, and lucky for us, their trusted advisor, their attorney, was a Rotary member. And so he suggested that they look at our Rotary Foundation as an option. Well, this couple did their research. You know, the attorney pointed out to them how we keep our overhead low very intentionally, how we leverage our members to help deliver the product, how we have grant oversight and stewardship in place to make sure that we're addressing real needs and that our projects are sustainable. Well, the couple did their research. In fact, they even visited one Rotary Center. And it was about a year later that I got the notification that all the final documents had been finished. And this couple left their entire estate, valued between $5 and $6 million, to our Rotary Foundation. Now, yes. The gift was completely anonymous and completely unrestricted. This is the power of our Rotary Foundation and our endowment account. Now, you and I see our Rotary Foundation as part of our member experience, part of a benefit of us being part of Rotary, right? But our Rotary Foundation provided a solution for this couple to be able to leave a legacy and feel very good about what they were going to be accomplishing in the world, not just today, but for generations in the future. We know that the gifts from this couple and our own gifts are going to make a difference. They're going to do good in the world. And it's easier than you might imagine to leave this legacy, to plant that tree under whose shade you never expect to sit. And so I encourage you to think about the legacy that you want to leave as well to our Rotary Foundation. You know, when I joined Rotary, I wasn't looking for meaning in my life. I was interested in business contacts and getting more engaged with my community. I had no idea where this journey of Rotary was going to lead. At that time, I noted the lofty vision of Rotary to create world peace and understanding. Now, I have to tell you, at that time, it sounded a bit like an answer to a Miss America interview question to me. But you know, standing where we are today, I think that world peace and understanding may be one of our greatest challenges. It might be one of our greatest opportunities. And so the question is, how do we build peace? How do we create peace? Well, the good news is that Rotary has been involved in different aspects of peace for more than 100 years. And we currently have more than 20 programs that you and your clubs can be involved with to help create peace. Things like working with Rotary Youth Exchange, Interact, and Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, things you're already doing, engaging younger generations in creating peace. We also have a strong relationship with the IEP, International Economics and Peace. Sorry about that. We also have an active representative network at the United Nations. And Rotary were consultants, members of Rotary were consultants to the UN when it was chartered in 1945. We also have Rotary action groups, and in fact, we have a Rotary action group for peace. And District 6400 was part of creating this Great Lakes chapter of the Rotary Action Group for Peace. Maybe you see some familiar faces on that screen. Congratulations and thank you. One of our signature programs through our Rotary Foundation related to peace are our Rotary Peace Fellowships. So master's degree programs, 5 around the world, and 2 of our professional certificate programs, including that new Peace Center in Istanbul, who've graduated more than 1,700 Rotary Peace Fellows since the program began in 2002. It is inspiring and meaningful to see what these Rotary Peace Fellows are doing in the world, their impact on creating peace. Whether in local community organizations, in nonprofit organizations, sometimes in the highest levels of government, creating policy that will benefit us all. So I hope to see you in Calgary, because in Calgary you're going to have a chance to meet, to interact with, and to hear many of these Rotary Peace Fellows. And you will be amazed and inspired at what they are doing. In Rotary, we don't see peace. We don't approach it as an abstract concept, but as a living, dynamic expression of human development. We understand that peace is not simply the absence of war or conflict. Peace is creating conditions where individuals and communities can thrive. That's what we're good at, isn't it? Creating conditions where individuals and communities can thrive. And every one of us has an opportunity to be a peace builder. Whether it's engaging with young generations through our youth programs, whether it's integrating peace into a project that your club's already doing, or possibly a new project. Whether it's participating in the Rotary Action Group for Peace with your new Great Lakes chapter, or whether it's building bridges with people of other cultures, of other religions, languages, or politics. We all have this as an ability. It's a cornerstone of our organization, and it's a way that we can leave a mark on this world. and the purpose of life is to give it away. There are so many stories in this room, stories of why, stories of inspiration and the gifts that you have and how you've given them away. So I want to thank you so much for being the people of purpose, the people who are intentional and compelled to take action, people of aspiration who look to the future with courage and optimism and are willing to take on big dreams, people of significance who understand how the world works and are able to create lasting change. You know, when we think about what makes life meaningful for us, again, it's very personal, isn't it? For some, it's all about people. It's about connections and relationships and love. For others, it has to do with learning and self-discovery and personal growth. For others, it might be religion or spirituality or nature. At least in this room, I think meaning also has to do for us with how we can create lasting change, how we can change lives, how we can make lives better. I mentioned that I like to tell a story about Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. I've learned so much working with young leaders through our Rotary youth programs. And one of the things I learned at Riley Camp was get to, the term get to. So the campers learned that their approach and their perspective was within their control and could make a huge difference in their life. And so a simple example might be that statement you've all heard about, I have to go to school, and reframing that to, I get to go to school, where I can make friends and learn skills that will help me accomplish my goals and my dreams. Well, this is an important lesson, not only for young people, but for us as well, isn't it? For adults. We get to be part of Rotary. We get to change lives, and we get to make a difference. So thank you again. Thank you for being part of Rotary. Thank you for your generosity to our Rotary Foundation. Thank you for being people who bring the best of your hearts, the best of your minds. You bring your time, your talent, your treasure. And through Rotary and our Rotary Foundation, you transform these gifts into changing lives and to creating a more peaceful world. I think you are the magic of Rotary. Thank you so much.